Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, January 20th, 2014 at 5:37 p.m. This is Meteorologist Eric Drewitz with the New York State Regional Forecast Center with your latest forecast update. Anyway, we're going to start off by looking at current conditions like we always do. As you see, there's a good temperature gradient across New York State. Down here on the island, you'll see a lot of 40s, upper 30s just north and west of the city. But then when you get up here, up into central New York, around Syracuse, Oswego, and you go a little bit more west, like Buffalo, Rochester, mostly teens. If you see, that's probably because the Arctic front passed through. If I had to draw a line of where it is currently over right now, actually, I would actually say about here, because where you see the temperature changes and the wind changes pretty good. No, not there. I meant to say, sorry. I would say here. And obviously it's pushing south. You still got that southerly to southwesterly flow, change more to a westerly as the afternoon progressed over the island and the city. Anyway, if I look a little more north to give you an idea of the rest of New York State, looks like we have single digits up here in Adirondacks with minuses at some spots. If I look up into Canada, again, like single digits minuses are pretty much prevalent. Montreal is like about 6 degrees. It looks like 5-6 degrees. If you go a little more into the suburbs, temperatures drop pretty quick. Anyway, now I'm gonna bring up the again, I guess I'll look at the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness. Pretty much the purpose of this broadcast, though, tonight is going to be mostly focusing on the coastal storm that's going to be hitting Long Island, New York City, and the tri-state region. And if I have some time, I'll do a little bit on the still on the lake effect snow and the Arctic front passing through if I still have time. Anyway, this is the 18Z run of the NAM, the 1 p.m. run. And pretty much, the 540 line is off. As you see, the 540 line is way offshore to the south of Long Island. It actually looks like it's about like around Maryland, so it's pretty far south, which is good. And as you see, the precipitation or the coastal system comes into enters the region within the next 24 to 36 hours. As you see, the 540 line stays well offshore to the south and east, which is good for snow across the region. And pretty much as I fast forward out, it looks like by 18Z Wednesday, the snow should be pretty much gone. I mean, it's going to be winding down pretty good 12Z Wednesday or 7 a.m., but 18Z is going to be pretty much out of there, according to the NAM, and then it's just going to stay cold, so the snow's not going to be melting anytime soon. The good thing, I guess, for the kids at school, it's looking like Wednesday, at least I'm going to call for at least a 2-hour delay, but the way the politics have changed with snow days, I anticipate a snow day on Wednesday for all of you kids back Long Island schools, and all you parents. I would say after school activities, Tuesday will most likely be canceled, and I will say school most likely will be closed or delayed depending on what school district you are in on Wednesday. For my school district, my old school district, Northport, I actually expect them to be closed because the way the politics changed with the snow days after Winter Storm Nemo. So as you see, this is the 12Z European, and as you see, the precipitation enters the area within around 18Z Tuesday, so 1 p.m. Tuesday. It's coming down pretty good at about 0Z Wednesday, and it sticks around and it's completely gone by 18Z Wednesday. As you see, the 540 line or the 540 decameter line is still way offshore. Actually, the GFS takes it out a little bit further to see the 540 line, but that's good again for snow, for good snow on the island. That's good because you want to be on the west side of the storm track for the snow and not the east side, because you don't want well, to give you an idea, over here on the east side, you're going to get more of that southerly flow, which will rise the temperatures, and that will equal rain, which is no fun. Anyway, as the storm pulls out again, you see the trough really deepening in the east. So it's going to stay cold for a while. So that snow's not going to be melting anywhere. And pretty much it looks like the whole European. Actually, the European has another storm. Looks like coming Wednesday, January 29th. 204 to 222 hours out, and the European model does not show any hinting at warming it does not hint at the 540 line at all remotely close to the island or the city. So now I'm going to look at the 12Z GFS run, looking at the 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness and the QPF for this storm coming. Again, if you watched my previous broadcast, this broadcast I'm looking more towards the Long Island, New York City area for this potential nor'easter good event. Anyway, so the precipitation looks like it's right on the doorstep of the island in the city. Around 18Z or 1 p.m. Tuesday, and this will be moving this way to the northeast. So, as you see now, by 0Z or Wednesday or 7 p.m. Tuesday evening, the 540 line is well offshore, and actually it looks like western Long Island in the city is seeing some decent precipitation. Later I'm going to go through the some short-range forecast ensembles for liquid water to snow accumulation ratio and temperature and stuff like that. So anyway, this is at 1 a.m. Wednesday morning or 6Z Wednesday, and it looks like this is around when the heart of the snow is. Again, the 540 line is way offshore, the rain snow line. So the Long Island, New York City area is going to be seeing a good amount of snow. Again, northeasterly winds for a good portion. Backing winds with height, cold air advection, because as you're going to see, this cold temperatures from to the northwest are going to be moving into the region. So when I fast forward 12Z, actually the GFS has it still snowing pretty decent in 12Z, especially the eastern half of Suffolk County. And by 18Z, it looks like it's pretty much gone. And as you see, cold temperatures are going to be coming into the region. The 498 line's off the coast of Long Island, so the trough really deepens by 12Z Friday, according to the GFS, and also which means the snow is not going to be melting anytime soon. And as I keep looking out, it looks like there's really not much in the way of relief until potentially the 3rd of February. So now we're going to look at the 2-meter temperatures. I'm not going to look all the way far out because I want to just focus on this event that's coming up. So we're going to look at the 18Z NAM first, and as you see, 6Z Tuesday or 6Z 1 a.m. tonight. It actually looks like the north shore of Long Island is going to be in the lower 20s. Most of Long Island's in the upper 20s, and then by 12Z, You're looking at the island being mostly in the lower 20s to upper teens, I'd say, in the Pine Barrens. Upstate, a lot of single digits, and within that, in the really interior portions, minuses. Hudson Valley, upper teens, lower 20s, Capital District, single digits. And as I keep looking forward, this is around when the high temperature will be tomorrow. This is 18Z around 1 p.m. tomorrow. Most of Long Island still in the teens, except for like maybe the very east end, which could possibly be in the lower 20s. So it's nice and cold at the onset for this nor'easter. And as you see here, the 32-degree line, or the freezing line, is well to the south, off the coast of the South Shore of Long Island. So that's good for the setup, for the initial setup of this storm. So now 0Z Wednesday, you could see the cold air, because Long Island looks like it's going to be in the teens for the western half, and central and eastern in the lower 20s, but you can see the temperature profile, according to the 2-meter temps, according to the NAM, look good for snowfall. As you see, it looks like you're having the cold temperatures move in from the northwest, and the warm temperatures that are going to be moving up are staying out to the east. And the freezing line is well off the shore, well off the coast of Long Island, which is very good for the people who want snow on the island, for the snow lovers. And as you see, 6Z Wednesday, around a peak of the snow, temperatures are looking good. To the northwest, the interior portions, a lot of single digits, and then minuses in the very interior. A lot of teens just north and west New York City, lower teens. On the island, it actually looks like most of the island's going to be in the upper teens, which is going to be good for the snowfall, for the liquid water equivalent to snowfall accumulation ratios, because the cold basically, what I'm talking about right now is the colder the atmosphere is, so the colder the air temperature is, that fluffier snow that you get, it accumulates faster. So for example, really wet snow when it's around 32 degrees, you'll probably get like 10 inches of snow to 1 inch of liquid water equivalent. But let's say it's like 20 degrees and it's very fluffy, you can potentially see like 15 inches of snow for every inch of liquid water equivalent. So the colder so you want the temperature to be colder, because there'll be more snow, but also when you're shoveling, the snow won't be as heavy. Like sometimes I've shoveled my driveway and it was like a 30-degree snow, heavy wet snow, and we got like 10 inches, and it was a pain to shovel. But then the last storm we just had, the last day before I went back up state to Oswego, I shoveled my driveway, and this storm, though, we got about the same. We got about 10 to 12 inches, just like that heavy wet snow that I said that was when we got it was 30 degrees, but except this time it was in the teens, so the snow was very nice and light and fluffy and easy to shovel. So that should be good for you folks down there. And now 12Z Wednesday, like right during the morning commute, most of the island's going to be in the lower teens, some upper teens along the south and east end, and some along the north and west side, some upper single digits even. And then when I look 18Z Wednesday, the island and the city is mostly going to be in the lower teens, although maybe some upper teens towards the east end of the island. And as you keep looking out, it doesn't look like there's really going to be... So that's 0Z today. But as you keep looking out, this is now as far as the NAM goes out. This frame right here, it doesn't look like it's going to be any sigh of relief, any snow melting really. It's going to stay pretty cold, even colder upstate. And now look at the 12Z European run. Again, starting off today, 12Z warm, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s to around 40 along the South Fork. 18Z, highs around 45 in New York City. I saw a little bit more south around the Philadelphia area. I saw a high of like 50. Meanwhile, it was in the 20s up here in Oswego, which is actually for you guys who don't know, which is actually around here. And actually, at the moment, it's 43 degrees in East Northport, which is my hometown down here. And in Oswego, it's it's 12 degrees currently. So that's not a very and that's not a very far distance in the scheme of things. So there's a good temperature gradient between here and Oswego. I mean, between here and East Northport. And when I look out more, this is 6Z Tuesday or 1 a.m. tonight. You'll see the 32-degree line just to the south of the island. For the south and east end, low 30s, but still below freezing, and upper 20s on the north and west end. And when I animate this, more, you'll see around 12Z temperatures more so, in the upper 20s, and then 18Z, the temperatures are actually falling. Now Long Island and the cities mostly in the lower 20s, except along the immediate South Shore and Fire Island, they'll still be in the upper 20s. Fire Island actually might be able to still see a 30 at this time, but then 0Z, when the coastal system starts moving in, you'll see the 32-degree line well off to the south of the island, well off the coast, lower 20s for the whole island, so maybe even upper teens around the northwestern Nassau, and then you'll see 6Z around the heart of this event. Long Island's actually mostly in the upper teens and just north and west of the city in the lower teens, so it's still really cold. And then 12Z, as I said, upper single digits, north and west side, northwest Nassau, mostly lower teens for the island, maybe like around 15, mid-teens around the South Fork of Suffolk. And as you see, as I look out further, there's really no warming that much in sight until possibly when it comes to melting snow, until possibly 18Z Saturday. So the snow is going to be sticking around for a while. So here's to give you an idea of the wind field during this event. This is the 18Z NAM again. As you see, the front, we got converging winds right here pretty much. So it looks like if I were to draw our front, I want to use blue for this, it's looking like it's looking kind of like this. So I don't want to use red. That's a warm front. This is a cold front. Alright, so I want to use, if I was to draw out our front, it would kind of look something like this at the moment. And pretty much, as you see, the reason is because the wind direction on the south side, it's well south, it's still a southwesterly flow, but then it changes more to a westerly as the front approaches. West southwesterly looks like around the island, southwesterly still south of the front, but then as you see, as the front is advancing towards the coast, you'll see on the back end more so northwesterly winds, and well behind over here more so northerly. So the cold air is really going to be advancing on the region for the island, the city, and the Jersey coast. And the temperatures should fall big time, as I just showed you in the previous model runs for the 2-meter temperatures. And so, as you see now, the front is literally right on the doorstep by 0Z tonight, or 7 p.m. tonight, because now you see the winds more so northwesterly, just north and west of the city, but still just off the south shore of Long Island. They're still just westerly, but as you see, this front now is starting to really push southward by 0Z tonight, and then boom, by 6Z tonight or 1 a.m. tonight, the front is looks like it's all the way down here. So because now you get that nice northwesterly flow, that nice north to northwesterly flow over the island and the city, which is also good to have a good onset for this potential coastal storm. And as you see, the winds stay pretty much northerly. This is actually, let's go back. This is 18Z Tuesday, so this is around when you saw the storm entering the area. And again, it looks like the winds are mostly from the north to actually northeasterly, a little, well, northwesterly and upstate, but it looks like there's kind of a bit of curvature here, so northeasterly, which is their typical nor'easter, because the reason why it's called nor'easter is because the surface winds come from the northeast, even though the system really moves to the northeast from the southwest. Even though the system's moving this way, the surface winds are coming this way, which is why it stays cold during a nor'easter and you get some good snowfall. So as you see, the winds coming now, changing to more of a northeasterly. Now the 6Z Wednesday, more of a northerly, and then 12Z, more of a northwesterly, and then a westerly. But the coldest there, though, at the moment I remember it was kind of over the central United States and more so central Canada, but with that northwesterly to westerly wind, that's going to be moving into our region. And then, as I showed you, temperatures are not going to really change. They're going to be still really cold. So now we'll look at the 12Z GFS. As you see, 0Z tonight, again, the front is pretty much right on our doorstep. And then you'll see the northerly to northeast. This shows you a better northeasterly flow, the GFS. Still, again, it's a nor'easter. Like, the storm track is really moving, as you saw in the other model ones. The storm track's really moving this way. But the surface wind is really moving in the opposite direction from the northeast. Sorry, my handwriting is not good with the computer stuff. Anyway, around 6Z, you have more of that northerly wind, and then it switches more to a northwesterly as the storm pulls out and we get on the back end. And then the cold temperatures really start moving into the region with the northwesterly winds. And now let's look at the Euro, 12Z Euro. As I said, the front moves through. This is 0Z Wednesday, north to northeast winds. Now northerly at 6Z, 12Z, and then as the storm pulls out, it switches to northwesterly. And now by 0Z Thursday, the storm's all pulled out, and there's a northwesterly wind with cold air coming into the region. So let's look at some short-range ensembles. So this one is the snowfall forecast from this short range ensemble. So pretty much right now it's looking like the island is about 1 to 3 inches. Now it looks more like around let's see, 3Z Wednesday. It's looking pretty good. And then 6Z, which is 1 a.m., it's looking to be around the peak between 3 and 6Z. As you see, there's this really good blob up here around the Boston area. So I guess shout out to a couple of my friends. My friend Kelly Sadusky over at Boston University, because she always asks me for the Boston forecast. Even though this weather forecast centers for New York. Shout out to Kelly in Boston. Basically, she's going to get a good snow band. It looks like around some good snow bands around 6Z or 1 a.m. Wednesday morning. And as this storm pulls out, again, 12Z is still looking really good on the island because it looks like there's some more development to our southwest with this band right here. And then find that again. Okay, so then by 15Z, it's actually looks like Long Island's in a pretty good snow band. And then by 21Z Wednesday, since this ensemble still shows it good, and then 0Z Thursday, it's completely gone. So I'm thinking based on this short run ensemble, I think the chances of a snow day on Wednesday are very likely. Actually, let's go to the winter weather and let's see. Let's look at the snowfall to liquid equivalent ratios because those are always good. So as you see, actually a lot of places in the very northern region of New York. This is at 12Z today, where it could see around 25 inches of snow to 1 inch of liquid. And looking out, it looks like the snowfall ratio looks like a 15-to-1 for 21Z Tuesday, which is generally your typical 15-to-1 is generally a typical colder coastal storm for Long Island. A lot of times in my life, I noticed we got about 15 inches of snow for 1 inch of liquid. For when the temperature was more in the 20s, in the lower 20s, and then as you look out, it looks like it could increase a little bit more to like 20 around, then 25 around 12Z, 12 UTC Wednesday. And as you see, when you get on the back end, when the colder air moves into the region, the snowfall ratios increase. So let's look a little bit at the 4-kilometer high-res NAM. Let's look at the 18Z run of that, and to get the profiles a little bit at a more high resolution. So as you see, the snow upstate up here, the snow showers and lake effect enhancement looks like it will die down a little bit as this synoptic system. This is at 15Z tomorrow morning. So as the synoptic system moves into the area, and then by 16Z, 17Z, it looks like the system's pretty much right on the on our doorstep. New York City could start seeing precipitation, and Suffolk County could too. But one thing actually I want to look at before I start saying that about when they will receive precipitation is actually I want to look at the moisture, because sometimes a lot of times I've seen at the onset of a I mean, I don't think it's so much with this one because it hasn't been a very cold, dry air mass, but at the onset of some of these winter storms I've seen, it hasn't. Snow was coming up on the radar, but it there wasn't so much any there wasn't any snowflakes because it was all virga, which means it was precipitation that was falling and that was picked up on the radar, but it wasn't hitting the ground because the air was too dry and it just evaporated before it hits the ground, which is known as a term meteorologists like to use as virga. So I'm just going to let that load. Actually, I could look at some. I could actually go to look at some forecast soundings to check this out too. So let's look at the NAM first, and this is the 18Z run of the NAM, and we're gonna look at some soundings. Let's look at a sounding for the East Northport area, considering that's that's closer to home. So drag this down and let's plot it. Alright, well, while we're waiting for that to load, if actually I want to look at this in the northeast. My bad. So let's go back to the sounding, shall we? So about what time we have to? I want to just recheck what time the around what time the storm it will be coming through. So yeah, from about let's look at soundings from about 18Z Tuesday, which is when it was right on our doorstep, to about 18Z Wednesday, which is pretty much when it pulls out. So it should looks like the storm will generally last in the whole region for a 24-hour period. So when I look, this is 18Z Tuesday that should be loading up, and yeah, so the profile looks pretty decent. It's looking pretty moist up to about 400 millibars or so. It looks like there's a little bit of a temperature inversion around 925 or so, 925 millibars, but it's not like an inversion that's serious enough that will be resulting in sleet or freezing rain, if you will. If there was going to be any sleet or freezing rain, the inversion would have to go past this line on the SCU-T log P diagram, because that's the freezing line, because that's 0 degrees Celsius right there, but it all stays, as you all see, it stays below freezing, so the precipitation should be cold from the cloud down. And if you look, this is your typical nor'easter wind setup. Your upper level winds are from the southwest, because the storm moves from the southwest towards the northeast. But the surface winds, as you see, are all coming all northeasterly. And another thing that you'll see that's good is that the winds looks like the wind barbs are turning counterclockwise with height, which means that we call it backing. And when you have backing winds with height, that's good for snow, because that's cold air advection, which I'll get to later. Which is basically when you have wind blowing from the cold air towards the warm air, so that's basically decreasing the temperature, which is what you saw on the 2-meter temps that I showed you earlier. And now we'll look at 27 hours out. So this should be so 21Z on Tuesday. Again, looks like, again, northeasterly winds on the surface, southwesterly at the upper levels, backing winds with height or counterclockwise winds with height, which is always a good thing, because we want cold air advection. A very moist profile up to about a little bit higher than 500 millibars. So about, I'd say, 480 millibars or so, 480, 490. Again, it looks like there's a bit of a temperature inversion, but not too severe enough that you're going to be not to result in sleet or freezing rain, which is good too. Looking at this forecast sounding, and as I look a little further out, this is now. Okay, so this is now 0Z Wednesday, so when the peak of the storm really hits. As you see, the moisture, there's a very nice moist profile up to about 300 millibars, because the screen line right here, I forgot to explain, but the screen line is the dew point temperature, and this red line is the actual air temperature. So when the air temperature is closer to dew point temperature, the humidity is higher, as you all know. So basically, to make it for all you non-meteorology majors out there, basically, the closer the red line is to the green line, the more humid and moist the air is, the more saturated the air is, and the farther it is apart, like up here, the drier the air is. So, again, backing winds with height, northeasterly winds near the surface, southwesterly in the upper levels, which is what you want. Again, the inversion's not severe enough to go above 0 Celsius, so the inversion is not going to be causing any sleet or freezing rain. And let's look at during the height of the storm at around the height of the storm from like 3 to 6Z Wednesday. Again, a very moist profile up to about 300 millibars or so. Looks like backing winds with height. Again, as I said, I sound like a broken record, but northeasterly winds near the surface, southwesterly upper levels, very moist profile. Again, inversion, but not severe enough to a little inversion, but not severe enough to cause sleet or freezing rain. And now let's look at 6Z, which is when the height of this storm should be, and that's looking like. Again, fairly moist. Looks moist up to about 450 millibars. Now the winds have changed a little bit. The winds look like they're more from the north at the surface now. But it looks like they're still backing with height. Still some counterclockwise rotation. Cold air advection. Again, it looks like there's a slight inversion between 925 and 7. And then like about 800, but not severe enough again, because the line, it's not going past the freezing line on the skew-T log P diagram. This is cold from the cloud down, so it's going to be all snow, no sleet or freezing rain or icing with this event. It's going to be a 100% snow event, and as we look out now, this should be about 9Z Wednesday morning, so around 4 a.m. Pretty moist profile up to about 500 millibars. The winds are now more northerly, and they're going to be backing with height, as you see, because they're northerly towards the surface and southwesterly in the upper levels, which is typical of a coastal storm when you're on the western side of the storm track, which is also the part of the storm track as you went in Met 100 or Met 210 that receives the most snowfall because cold air advection and good precipitation amounts. So now we'll look at 12Z Wednesday morning or 7 a.m. Wednesday morning. It's looking a little bit drier because this is when the storm starts to really pull out, but you're really seeing some more of that northwesterly flow as you see down here. And the cold air advection is really going to be coming into the area, into the region. Still southwesterly winds at the upper levels because the storm's moving away. But now, as you'll see, we'll go out to this will probably be our last sounding we'll look at for the NAM. But 15Z. More northwesterly winds, backing winds with high cold air advection, but now you see it's pretty dry. The moist profile looks like it only goes up to about maybe like 950 millibars, but temperatures well below freezing, cold, dry, air mass moving in. So now we're going to look at the GFS, and so this is the 18Z GFS, so we're going to start off by looking at 18Z on Tuesday. So the GFS, definitely I'd say there's going to not really be any virga at the onset of this event, because look at the profile here. It's extremely moist between the surface and about 450 millibars. In fact, it looks like the temperature is going to be pretty much at the same as the dew point. Again, it looks like backing winds with height. You got northeasterly winds by the surface, then the upper levels around starting at 850 millibars. You got more southwesterly. Again, it looks like there might be a little inversion between like 925 millibars and about 800 millibars, but again, it doesn't look anything too severe to result in sleet or freezing rain because its temperatures are going to be staying below freezing the whole time. So cold from the cloud down. It looks like 21 UTC, 21 Tuesday. Very moist profile again, up to about 400 millibars. Backing winds with height, cold air advection, northeasterly winds around the surface, southwesterly in the upper levels. And as I continue to look out quickly, I'll run through this quick because it's looking like it's this agreement with the NAM for the most part, although the GFS looks a little more extreme. Oh, this is when the real high. This is when the real intense part of the storm starts. The moisture profile looks like extremely moist, almost pretty much completely saturated, up until about 300 millibars, and you got that good northeasterly winds near the surface. And as you see, more the winds are going to be backing pretty severely with height, so indicate some strong cold air advection. Again, no inversions severe enough to make sleet or freezing rain an issue. And yeah, another profile. This is at 3Z. It looks very moist up to about like 600 millibars. Then it looks like there's a little bit of a dry slop. Moist again around 400 to about 300 millibars. And the winds backing again with height, northeasterly along the surface to southwesterly in the upper levels. No inversions. Cold from the cloud down, no inversions severe enough to cause sleet or freezing rain or any type of icing. So that should be good for the parents that hate the ice. And again, this is 6Z during the complete one of the most intense parts of the storm. Atmosphere looks completely saturated up to about 450 millibars. The winds are kind of switching more of a northerly direction along the surface, but again they back with height into a southwesterly flow in the upper levels, indicating cold air advection. And now we're going to see 9Z sounding for the GFS, which looks like again moist up to about 440 millibars. It looks like no inversions this whole time, no inversions that are really going to concern anyone with sleet or freezing rain. Again, cold air advection, backing winds with height, just like the other soundings. And we're going to stop it when it comes to these sound. This will be the last sounding we look at. This is 12Z again, same thing. Pretty moist up to about 600 millibars, backing winds, switching to northwesterly winds along the surface. No inversions are not extreme enough to cause icing, any kind of icing in any way. So that's good. So we'll look at the let's look at the temperature, 2 meter temps, according to the 4 kilometer high resolution NAM. And this is initialized at 18Z today. So as you see, temperatures at 18Z are 1 o'clock. As I said, there was a good temperature gradient in the middle teens around Oswego, in the 40s, mid 40s across Nassau, Suffolk County on the island. And as we keep going in time, you'll see that Arctic front really passing through. And this is now 18Z Tuesday, or when, as you saw, the synoptic system is right on the doorstep of the tri-state region. Looks like temperatures in the upper teens to lower 20s for the island and the city, middle teens in the Hudson Valley, in the lower Hudson Valley and South Shore of Connecticut. Single digits up here in central New York, although we're not really concerned about the synoptic system up here in central New York as they are down in the tri-state region. But as you see, the temperatures get a little colder throughout. This is now 4Z or 11 o'clock Tuesday night. Middle teens across the island and the city. And as you see now, Wednesday at 12Z, single digits to lower teens across Nassau and Suffolk. So the temperature looks really good for, as I showed you, there was some good 15 and 20 to 1 snow liquid equivalent to snowfall accumulation ratio. So 20 inches of snow to 1 inch of liquid water equivalent, which makes sense of it if it's around like 10 degrees or really cold outside, to have these good ratios. And then if I look more forward, this is actually looking at some climatology. This is the 500 millibar height anomalies for the 7 to 10 days, and it looks like in the east there's going to be a good trough. That the ECMWF agrees with the GFS, and it's looking all good for the winter weather. So this should do it for this forecast discussion. I hope you all liked it. I hope you thought it was enjoying. I hope you all thought it was helpful, informative. Let's see. Shout outs to everyone on the Owls Project. We're going to have a good last couple weeks. And good luck to everyone on the island with the snow removal and everything. Make sure you guys bundle up, stay warm, everyone, no matter where you are in the northeastern United States. It's going to be cold. Don't want to get frostbite or hypothermia. Kids, I have a feeling your school is going to be closed or delayed Wednesday, and your after-school activities are going to be canceled on Tuesday. So this is Meteorologist Eric Drewitz with the New York State Regional Forecast Center signing off for now. I'll be back probably tomorrow with another briefing, forecast discussion, and you all have a good night and stay warm out there.